I went from failing pretty much every single class to getting 4.0s. I remember I took 23 credits one semester. I was working 25 hours a week, and I was doing an MBA case competition. I took gold. I crushed my internship, got a full-time offer, and I got all A's in all 23 credits. Like, dude, I was just blessed by the Lord.
Get ready for Real Lives of Real Estate, where the world of real estate meets the essence of your life. Buckle up as we unravel stories, homes, and the heartbeat behind it all. Let's dive into another episode. I hope you share and are encouraged. Today we have the one and only David Choi joining us. A good friend of mine. We've been friends, brothers at this point, since 13 years old, 14 years old, making it 15 years of friendship. Business owner, you are a leader, you are a warrior, and many other things. And most related to this podcast, you're in real estate, and real estate has drastically shaped your life. But no, thank you for coming on, man. It's been a mission trying to get you on, but you hooked in. How do you feel?
Brendan, thank you so much for bringing me onto your podcast today. I'm so proud of what you've built here. This place looks awesome, and I'm hopefully going to add a ton of value to the audience that's checking in on this podcast. I do want to say that you are probably missing the one thing that you didn't mention in the introduction.
Oh, please tell me.
It's the godfather of Maverick, your firstborn child, and it's really an honor, truly, that you gave me that title to be the person that in the event anything happened to you or your wife, that you would trust me with Maverick. So really, an honor. Thank you.
Okay, just disclaimer, Deb. I did not say this. This is not true. No, but so really just diving in, what we love to ask our guests here, because this is not, you have your podcast, right? I've been honored to be a part of it twice now. Really great value there. So the question I ask is, what did you grow up in? Did you grow up in a house, a 2-family, single family, 3-family, 4, apartment building? Where did you grow up? What did you grow up in?
So I grew up in Queens, New York in an apartment building. Then I moved to Rutherford, New Jersey.
Wait, is that true? I thought you were joking. You really grew up you were born in Queens?
Queens, New York, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And now it was you're a second child, right?
Yep.
Do your parents have any other kids or just you and Joey?
Just me and bro.
Oh,
My
wow.
older brother, Joe.
For those who don't know, Rutherford is a phenomenal suburb here in Bergen County. We're located in Newark, right? #1 real estate team. But actually, funny enough, I was in Rutherford for middle school and high school.
I probably moved like 4 times throughout Rutherford.
Do you remember your first place?
Yeah, it was 135 Home Avenue. Wait, no. Yeah, I think it was.
Was it an apartment or
It was a 4-family. We had one of the units.
Okay, so it was apartment though.
I remember a big red house. Yeah, apartment building. Yeah,
2-bedroom, 3-bedroom?
2-bedroom.
So you shared a room with your Joe?
Yep. My older brother, Joe.
How do you think, growing up in an apartment building, right, a 4-family, and as opposed to many people in Rutherford who grew up in single-family housing, how do you think that impacted you differently? It's
not like my mom wanted me to grow up in a 2-family. Mm-hmm. It was just a financial situation that we grew up in. My dad had started a business, and he was always traveling and reinvesting back in, and he was getting a lot of momentum. And my mom was just always working. She's a beast. And by 3rd grade, my parents got separated.
At 3rd grade?
When I was in the 3rd grade, or 2nd or 3rd grade or something like that. And from that point on, it was just my mom. Single mom, paying all the bills, driving us to piano practice, taekwondo, like just being the best mom she possibly can. But like scratching, she was pinching pennies to make sure that she was putting food on the table and giving us an opportunity to learn. I'm sure that she would have loved to buy a house and put us in a stable home that we didn't have to move from place to place to place, but she did the best she could, and she did a great job.
I guess for you, my mom was a single mother as well when I was 13. You were young. You were 2nd grade. That's what, like 9 years old?
Yeah, I was like 7 to 8 years old.
Yeah, you were very young. Oh, yeah. No, you were young. Okay, and now, so your mom ended up having to take on the rent herself. At any point, did you know that you were a tenant? Did that ever come across your mind? Because now you own property, right? You're the landlord.
Yeah.
But when you were at that age, 10, 12, 11, you were living in Rutherford as a 2-family, 4-family. Do you ever think like, we pay someone rent?
When people ask me about my past, my childhood, like the first thing I'll tell you is like, oh, I had a great childhood. I I had fun. I ate. My mom always had food on the table. I was just living to have a good time. And it wasn't until like I hired a life coach where I realized that like that's just what my brain was telling me as a defense mechanism to just to protect me from the actual stuff that happened.
And processing those emotions.
Yeah. So like I didn't know I was I wasn't thinking about that stuff, you know? And if I wasn't processing it, so I have no idea. But you know, like it was when as a man now, as I go back to my past, I know that life wasn't sunshine and rainbows, right? I have many layers of trauma that made me who I am today. So, no, I wasn't thinking I'm a tenant. I just thought like my dad abandoned me. Like I don't deserve to be loved, right? And every single grade going up until like, dude, literally like I almost failed 5th grade. My mom had to come in parent teacher conference and say, please don't fail my boy. Like, what do we have to do? She had to do that again in 6th grade. And then she had to do that again in 7th grade. And then she had to do that again in 8th grade. And like, year after year after year until high school, where she didn't have to do that anymore because I was an athlete, and athletes get special treatment in terms of grades. That was where the teachers kind of just gave me passing grades, right? And so like, dude, I just skated by like that, smoking pot, selling weed, getting absolutely hammered. Every day that I could get a chance to, if I could afford to pinch my pennies to buy a bottle, and just going to parties and having a good time. That was my life all throughout middle school and high school. It's
so crazy that you're saying this. Because you think about middle school, like you're so young, right?
Yeah.
10, 11, 12. Now, let me ask you a question though. You know a lot of people in Rutherford. You were very, well known. If you think about your life, you didn't really have much stability. Your mom was hustling next level, so your mom probably wasn't home all the time, I'm gonna imagine. Right?
Yeah. They were none of my parents. Dude, my parents never came to any football games, wrestling matches, my whole career.
So you're unsupported.
Yeah.
You feel underloved, all that stuff.
And I knew that I was poor. No, I'm not poor, but like really, I'm very wealthy in compared to the rest of the world. But where I was growing up in, where my mom didn't have extra money to give.
And you said that was when you were 16?
Yeah.
At 16, you realized, wait, my friends have more money than me.
Way more money than me.
There was like a moment,
yes.
But you couldn't really pinpoint. You're saying.
I realized at a certain point that everyone had a really nice house, their parents were driving really nice cars, and if I broke my glasses, it would be calamity because it cost $200 to fix, and like that's a big burden.
I remember you getting in a fight with someone and you saying, my glasses, and you would be very protective over your glasses.
Yeah.
In high school, you kind of see the difference between, hey, my friends have money, I don't. Did you say anything? Did you ask them? Like, because I remember one of our friends, let's call him James, right? He has a place right next to the water at that dead end street. But he grew up with money, right? In my mind, I remember going to his house. He had a pool in the backyard. He had that basement we would hang out in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd be like,
really
and
nice
I'd be like, this guy is rich.
Loaded. I remember that base. It was so cool.
Yeah, the basement. I was like, this guy is everything and more. I grew up in a very similar position to you. I would even say I was probably worse off than you were.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Definitely. We moved like 13 times by the time I was 10 or 10 times by the time I was 13. Growing up, we were always low income. So for me, I always remember the end of the month. Alex Ramosi says you can tell someone's like wealth or their trajectory by what metric of time they speak in and what metric of money. So if someone's having like $10, hey, people buy $10, you kind of have a feeling of where they're at, right?
Yeah.
Right. If someone brings up like, oh yeah, this is like $170,000 project, you're like, oh. Or they're talking increments of like 100,000 or 1 million or 2 million, whatever it is. You're like, right? Yeah. Right. Oh, this is stick. It's like how the people in the hedge funds, oh, stick is $1 million, right? That's what they talk about stick. That's your unit of measurement. Same thing but for me, what I learned more so was time. So my mom and my dad, they only ever talked about the end of the month. So I remember that. Even remember one time I fell asleep on the couch watching TV. I was like maybe 15. My mom knocked on the door. I hear the door knock. Door's banging. It's like 8 a.m. in the morning on a Saturday. I'm like, gosh, I'm a kid. I go open the door. Who is it? My landlord.
Oh, jeez.
It wasn't 8 a.m. It was 9 a.m. I probably slept in. And my landlord was chasing my mom for the rent. So my landlord sits down. I'm laying on the couch. I'm like, I go back to bed. I don't realize what's really going on. Yeah. My mom and the landlord have like a 30-minute, like, you know what it is.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you're behind in rent conversation. And I'm listening to this. I'm like, whoa. So it's funny that you're saying that you didn't know you were a tenant. I knew I was a tenant at like the earliest age of life. I remember constantly we were tenants because I remember the rent was due.
Yeah, wow.
So I constantly remember like the rent's due, the rent's due, the rent's due. Even in my building, I honestly get nervous when I see, I've never told anyone this. The beginning of the month, it says, your rent is due. I'm like, oh, every single month. Every single month, I'm like, oh God. What did you go to college for? Because you graduated real estate, right? But did you go to college for real estate?
No, I just went into, I got into the business school.
Wait, you didn't graduate with a real estate degree?
No, I graduated with the concentration in real estate with a major in finance.
But did you start with that?
No, because the program wasn't around.
Oh, and you're the first class, right?
I was the first person to
in Rutgers, Newark, or Rutgers?
From Rutgers in the entire program.
Really?
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm on academic probation.
At Rutgers.
Going into my sophomore year, get a letter saying if you don't at least get your GPA up to a 2, you're out this semester. So I was at a 1.2 at the time. And so I'm like, all right, I'll get by with 2.0s. I don't really care. I go to a party, and at the time I was fighting at least like once every other week, just because I love fighting. I don't know, and I still do. That's why, but I do it in a controlled environment, right? So
less aggressive, I think.
Yeah, it's not a bloodbath. You know, what I mean, it's just kickboxing.
You're not doing it out of hatred at this point. You're doing it out of rage. You're doing it out of love for fight.
Yeah, it's just
it used to be out of rage,
right?
Now it's a healthier.
Correct.
Okay.
So I go to a frat party, my friend Kevin. Anyway, long story short, I get into a brawl. I give my glasses to my boy Fizzy, and lo and behold, when he gives me my glasses back, my glasses are smashed to pieces. I still don't have money. That is a very quick trigger for rage for me. So I'm in the front of the house, and I see a guy that I believe was part of the brawl. And so I go and punch him in the mouth. And I go grab his hip, and as I'm going to do a hip toss, someone's pulling me from behind. Anyway, I turn around, I punch that guy in the face, and cops running up the block. I run away, and I end up getting hit by a car. I hit him in the chin. He fell back, hit his head on a pole. His brain is bleeding, like big thing. So I had an aggravated assault on a Leo, which is a felon in all 50 states.
What's a Leo?
On an officer.
Oh, the law.
Yeah. I had, dude, I was in jail for a potential felony, right?
So Leo is law enforcement officer.
Oh, that's what it stands for. Cool. So anyway, my dad bails me out. He lets me kind of like just sit there for 4 days. It was like $15,000 in bail. He goes, look, I'll bail you out. And this is like, my dad started coming back into my life after he met the Lord, Jesus Christ. Around 16, he started trying, but he had a lot of trust to build. He just abandoned me for 8 to 10 years, right? So
yeah, critical years in the young boy's life.
Right. So like I still loved him, I still admired him, but like I didn't trust him yet. So he's been building and building every other week, picking me up, buying me lunch, stuff like that, right? But by 19, he's like bails me out and he says, "Look, I'll bail you out, but you need to read the Bible with me." And so I begrudgingly said yes, like I'll read the Bible with you if you bail me out of this jail, right? And so we start reading the Bible together. And like you're 19, you're a complete failure academically your whole life. You're going to probably be a felon, right? In most cases, I read the Bible and like it just starts to give me hope, right? And I started reading about my namesake David. God chooses him and redeems him. And it's just a great story about his failures and God forgiving him and all these things. And so I really related to David. And so I asked God to just change my heart.
Wow. And
I asked God to give me wisdom. And I just read the Bible every day and I just started seeing God really change the man that I was. And yeah, so it wasn't until I met God that I asked God for wisdom. And the first piece of wisdom that God gave me was, Dave, you need to, that was really when the money situation became crystal clear for me. I never had a clear idea as far as like what my financial position was, or my mom's or my dad's, until I met God. And when I asked God for wisdom, he's like, bro, your mom has no life savings. Your mom has been pinching her pennies to put you and your brother through college. When you guys are done, she's not gonna have a Roth IRA. She's not gonna have a pension. Yeah. She goes, bottom line is this: is either you or your brother or both of you guys are gonna have to provide for your parents. So you better start getting your act together. And so I said, all right, fair enough. I'm gonna outwork my mom until I retire, mom. So my mom works 80, 90 hours a week. She's a beast. And so I decided, and this was the wisdom God gave me, you got to outwork your mom until you retire her. And so mom, mom working 80, 90 hours a week, I started working 90 or 100. And I've been doing that for the last 9 years, right? And so once I hit that first 90 hours a week, it became very clear that I did not want to work 90 hours a week. I actually did not like working at all. And so I just kept Googling how to retire early. And that's when I came across Bigger Pockets podcast. That's when I got the real estate bug. And that's when I just decided to go all in because I was seeing 30-year-olds, teachers, firemen, regular people that were in regular jobs, retiring at 30, 35 years old. And that's the kind of life I wanted for myself so that I could put my mom and my dad in a good place and be able to go to my kids' football games, take him to school when he's young, throughout his life. I wanted to be a present father because that's something that I didn't have growing up. And, that's what real estate has been able to kind of get me to.
Wow, real estate has drastically impacted you. It sounds like it was kind of in a moment of redemption, you clung to the Lord. So you're 27?
28, turned 29 in February.
Do you have any plans on retiring in the next 7 years?
Well, within the next 2 years, I plan, I could own up 1 million units, and that doesn't matter because it's owned by my company, and we're incredibly disciplined on growth and reinvestments. So any money that my company makes, it has no reflection on how I live on a personal level, right? So I literally could make $15 million, but that from my company in profit, but that does not impact me personally because me and Eric, we just pay ourselves humbly. We decided we're gonna finally pay ourselves in 2024, and so
this year,
yeah,
watch
Choi
out!
Getting paid.
Choi's about to get paid.
Yes, this is my first year.
Ask him to invite you out to dinner.
No, thank you. I'm pitching my pennies. So I'm taking 2024. This is the first year I'm going to pay myself a lot of money, right?
Are you allowed to say how much or no?
Yeah, I plan on paying myself $425,000 this year.
Okay, so definitely above average.
Yes.
I think, yeah.
So,
but how are you going to get that paid? Because you W-2 or no, right? You guys.
I'm
W2.
1099.
You had 1099.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's the most. I've been paying myself $65,000 a year.
Yeah, I'm gonna
for
be
the last 6 years.
Let me give a disclaimer. Choi, by all means, lives more humbly in proportion to his money than most people do who are making less money than you.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So I know so many people, including, honestly, close friends who make substantially less money than Choi, but spend more lavishly than Choi, which I got to ask you, how has that been? Where did you learn that? Was that through, because you grew up poor, you grew up in the apartment buildings, you grew up there, you only got into real estate when you were 21, you had 20 years old, you had no hookup, right? Any of that stuff, 19 years old. How do you learn the financial literacy? Where is that something that you got from being in the real estate industry?
Dude, I just
Was it proximity?
Yeah, it's just proximity to my mom. She's been pinching her pennies. She's been a wise woman, right?
So, whoa, really?
Yeah.
I did not think you were going to say that.
She's such a wise woman. Dude, my mom is a freaking rock. It's her birthday today.
It's Bennett's birthday,
yeah,
too.
that's right. I gotta wish him a happy birthday. But yeah, dude, I don't live lavishly, man. I guess in comparison to others, here's what I do, right? I don't have a great car. I don't live in a penthouse that costs $5,000, $6,000, I don't do that. I have a very humble, fixed operating living expenses. However, when I go out and I eat whatever I want to eat, if I want to drink, I'll drink whatever I want to drink. And dude, for me, that's enough.
I will say, yeah, you do so, in terms of, I'm just trying to think about this. Somehow real estate has not impacted your life to live lavishly. Since me and you, we've gotten into business around the same time.
Yeah.
Right? For those who know, I went to jail when I was 20 years old. I went for 6 months. Not my 4 days. I beat David in that competition. I also one time beat David in a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I made him tap.
Yeah, listen. Time out. Time out. No. Hold on. No, you're not.
Rob me. Edit it out.
Edit.
Okay.
Look.
Edit that out.
Let me just be clear. By the way, I'm not a felon. For those that I didn't complete that story. I am not a felon. I ended up getting PTI, post-trial intervention. My record is squeaky clean. You can do a background check on me.
Okay.
You can't find nothing.
You can find on his record that he got tapped out by Brendan Silva.
Look,
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
we did. He came to MMA, and I literally tapped him out 19 times prior to that in a period of like 1 hour. And at the end, he goes, one more time, one more time. He snags me in an arm bar. I don't even know where he came from. That was one time out of the, like,
I'll tell him the story. When you looked into my eyes, you knew.
Yeah, I know. When the moment that he had me, I was like, oh, he's going to like not go crazy here, right? Like, I'm going to shake him off. I looked into his eyes, and it was the eyes of a man that was willing to literally tear my arm off to make me tap. And so I got scared. I was like, all right, let go.
And I'm gonna be honest. In my mind, I felt exactly what you were saying. I knew that you thought I was gonna let go, so you weren't gonna tap, and I thought I was gonna hurt him. I'm like, I don't want to hurt him. I'm gonna let go. And
But
I
you were
said-
willing to.
But then I said to myself, I said, you may not get another chance.
You
at this
would never have
in
ever
your
got a chance.
life. That's what came through my head. Now I'm on a more serious note.
No, I
I,
think so.
I don't think we would have grown as close friends, and I don't think we would have stayed friends if it wasn't for our common passion of real estate and its role in our lives. I have yet to find people who are very successful in real estate and have not come through a season of brokenness. Because to get from nothing to something, if they start off with money, different. But people who have nothing, the level of drive it takes, you have to have a degree of trauma in you, right?
For sure.
To go from nothing to this. With that said, when I got into real estate, it was because I couldn't get a job. I had done my 6 months. I have a misdemeanor. I did a 6-month plea deal. I have a misdemeanor charge, and I got out. I couldn't get a job.
You could get that expunged.
I can. In Virginia, they don't do expungements. At this point, it just is what it is.
It is what
So,
it is.
what am I going to go back?
You're
in time?
married, you have a kid, you have a business.
Move on.
Cry me a freaking river. Like,
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's, like,
Yeah.
it's honestly the cards
Yours
played out.
fine.
The cards played out so well.
Yeah.
And it's just the Lord's been very faithful in all.
Amen.
With that said, you had spreadsheets and performas and all that stuff. I said, what is this guy doing? I remember I took one of your performers. You sent it to me because I thought I had a deal, and I showed my broker. My broker's like, "You made this?" I said, "Me and my friend did." And they were so impressed. They brought other people to see the performer you made at 20 years old. It literally, they called people into the office. They look how he's looking at deals. I said, "Yeah, well, you know." Meanwhile, I
you know what's so funny,
Go
dude?
ahead.
I remember I was at Hampshire. You're older
Yes.
than me, so you were
Hampshire
on. Is probably New Jersey's largest real estate developer, the private equity firm, and I was an analyst at the time, just underwriting deals. I remember you calling me, being like, "Choi, I got this deal. Can you look?" I put that together in like 4 minutes. I
Yeah.
remember, and like I remember about 6 months into your career, you're like, Dave, like you called me at like 6 o'clock. I'm still at work. Dave, like, I don't know, man. I don't know if this is something that I want to keep doing. Like, I'm running around, going crazy, like showing people freaking properties, and they're just wasting my time. And they're like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm trying, I'm working so hard, and it's not coming to anything. I thought I'd be somewhat successful by now, and like,
Yeah.
I'm just doing everything I can, and nothing's freaking working.
Yeah.
I certainly wasn't gonna let you quit, right? And I'm sure after you called me, you called 2 or 3 other people that made sure you weren't lonely, right? You probably called Carlos. You probably called Jean
Carlos.
Yeah, you probably called him, right? And when you're in the real estate game, like in the very beginning, you need to have, because your family won't support you.
They just don't understand.
They don't get it.
They can't. You can't even rationalize.
Yeah, I don't even know how I got to that topic, but
No, you're good. Honestly, I am deeply appreciative. I think that was actually month 4. I think it was month 4. With that said, I would never even have had month 4 if it weren't for you. And specifically in this case, shout out to Joseph Choi, your brother.
Facts.
Because when I applied for my real estate license, they wouldn't give it to me because I had a misdemeanor. So they made you write a letter of explanation. So I sent it to you. You had your brother write to basically edit, and I sent it in. And it was like, well, I actually have it in my email. I saw it last week.
Wow.
2 weeks ago, of that letter of explanation of what I went through. And your brother just masterfully crafted this,
Facts.
the basically reasoning of like, yeah, I was wrongfully accused, but even I'm not blaming anybody. I did my time. I paid my debt to society. I'm looking to be a functioning member. I'm 22 years old. Give me a chance.
you know what's crazy, bro? Is that your brother went to Harvard.
Yeah.
Why did he edit that?
My brother, I got to give you a big shout out. He got me into college. My brother did a lot for me. I can't blame. I cannot complain.
Okay.
And I don't know why he didn't edit that. It actually is his nature to edit it.
Yeah.
But I know why. Because you offered.
Wow,
That's what it
you
was.
trusted my brother that much?
No, I trusted you.
Oh boy. I'm the worst writer I know.
No, you told me, you said my brother can help.
Wow.
Brennan, don't, because I was like, dude, I don't know what I'm going to do. At that time, you have to understand, my mental psyche was so crippled from being,
So ashamed.
I was deeply ashamed. I had a severe PTSD, at least substantial PTSD. I was shaking on a regular basis. I was having panic attacks on a regular basis. It was daily. I was having panic attacks.
Yeah.
It was horrible. So at that time, Emma, my counselor was like, hey, you need to avoid stressful situations. I said, I'm getting into real estate. I hear it's very stressful. I didn't even know it was this stressful as it is. But basically, you were traveling all the time. I'm like, Joy, you traveling all the time? He goes, yeah, bro, I'm learning a lot. I'm going to these buildings. You had an amazing experience working with them in top minds in your industry and the commercial level, underwriting massive apartment acquisitions, right? Crazy interviewing, like, you're not interviewing tenants, you're interviewing property managers, right?
Yeah.
And then they give you you were going to have to move out to Florida.
That's right.
And can you say what was your response? You were making great money. You were, what, 22 years old?
22, I was making 125 grand a year. You know, like...
This is 6 years ago.
But dude, like I graduated. By the way, after I met the Lord, I went from failing pretty much every single class to getting 4.0s. Semester after semester, dude, I remember... I remember I took 23 credits one semester. I was working 25 hours a week, and I was doing an MBA case competition all at the same time. I took gold. I crushed my internship, got a full-time offer, and I got all A's in all 23 credits. Like, dude, I was just blessed by the Lord. Yeah. And this guy right here is not that. He's not. You know, like it was very hard for me.
Yeah.
So like, anyway, I of course I got a good job because year after I was so blessed all throughout college that everything that I did turned out great. I got 9 internships before I graduated. Full of real estate experience. Like it was just too easy at that point in time for me to win on a big level post graduation.
Because I don't know if you're allowed to say this, you got a severance on the way out.
Yeah.
Yes.
They gave me a package. Like they
said
me
either
really
move
nice
to Florida
deal.
or here's your package.
Yeah.
I can't believe you got a package, honestly.
I took that fat deal.
And it was what, 30 grand or 50 grand?
I don't remember. Honestly,
I remember, honestly, it was 60 grand. I was going to hype you. I set you up. It was like 55,000.
Was it?
Yeah, it was crazy amount of money. It was 55,000 or 52,000 or 60,000. One of those numbers.
Look, all I know is that at my bank account at the time, I had been pitching my pennies prior to. I had a total of like 65 grand to start my business.
Yeah. What did I just say? 60 grand.
65, but I had probably whatever. I probably had some.
You had maybe it was. Yeah, I think it was that. Maybe that's what it was. You started your business with 65 grand.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's what it was. That's
I remember coming to you and be like, I have 65 grand. What do I do? And then you were like, dude, Choi, you're crazy. He goes, I've been trying to get you to jump into, like, just do it on your own. Like, if I'm doing it, you could do it, bro. Like, come on, let's do it together. Blah blah blah. Yeah. And go ahead.
No, you're saying the story. Continue.
Yeah, you're like, come on, like we should do it together. And what you were doing was you were actually being a realtor. You were helping buyers find houses. You were helping sellers sell houses.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do that, right? And so I was like, Brendan, I know we could make money together. I'm sure we would be great partners together. But like, this is what I want to do. I want to be on the investment side. And like, there were many times over the last 6 years where I questioned myself, like, maybe I should have just partnered with Brendan, like, because the grass is always greener, right? Even like wholesaling is much harder than helping buyers find properties to buy, in my opinion. Significantly harder.
Harder in what way?
Buyers can be found on Zillow, right? Buyers can be found on Realtor.com. Buyers can be found on so many different online platforms. You could even generate really cheap buyer leads on Facebook, like $1.51 at times. So long as like real estate, the lifeblood of that business is marketing. And so long as you could generate top line gross leads, and you could take those leads and convert them into appointments, and you could convert those appointments into contracts, then you're going to make money. But for getting seller leads and getting deal flow as an investor, they're so much harder than than finding leads on the retail side, because not only are buyer leads way cheaper, but once you start focusing on the seller side to get deal flow, they're just way more expensive. Like my average leads cost me like $100, right? $50 on some occasions. But I have to get through 40 leads.
Would you believe that Zillow's lead right now in Newark is like $110 a lead?
For a seller?
For a buyer.
Holy crap.
It's like $90 a buyer or something like that.
No way. Are you serious?
Huh? That's what the handoff is, $90. For a live connection to see a property, $90 per buyer.
You convert?
The conversion ratio at best is 3%, 4%.
3%, 4%.
Let me ask you more now pointed questions, like if we can, like rapid fire, okay?
Yeah. Go for it.
How has real estate impacted your relationship with friends?
I don't really have time to hang out with my high school friends. Real estate has impacted my relationships with a lot of friends that I don't want to be hanging out with anymore because I'm too busy to hang out with nonsense friends as well. But I will say that the friends that I want in my life right now, like I probably have 3-4 friends that I really love and care about, my quarters. I'm still hanging out. Brendan, I'm still hanging out. You're my best friend?
Yeah.
We hang out at least twice a month.
Yep, no less.
Right? Sam, he's finally got his life back. I'm probably going to be hanging out with Sam twice a month now, right? Larry, he's always traveling the world, so that's on him.
That's on him.
Larry, that's on you, homie, right? But
I actually really like Larry.
Larry's a great guy.
Yeah, he's really good.
So like my quarters, I spend my time with, right? Hannah, I spent like my girlfriend, I hang out with her all the time, right? And so I hang out with my mom all the time.
So it sounds like the relationships that matter to you have risen to the top. I don't really think that's a real estate thing, David, believe it or not. I think that's a general life thing. As you grow older, your circle gets smaller and deeper.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Okay. So how would you say that real estate has impacted your self-image?
Yeah, it hasn't really been real estate that changed my self-image. Because like you could have all the money in the world and externally you're flashy, you look good, and girls are all over you. But like at the core of your being, that means nothing. You really have to do a lot of personal work to get to that point where you actually love yourself and you feel like you're enough. So I would say that real estate has given me the money that I needed to invest in the things and the coaches and the people that are going to make me love myself more. So overall, I believe that real estate in itself hasn't improved my self-image. It's just given me the resources and a network to improve myself to get to love myself.
Wow. How would you think your life would look like if you were in real estate?
But by 28, I feel like I'd be at least making 200 in finance.
Okay, well, let's say let's go a little bit more polarizing. Let's say if you couldn't do a finance or real estate related job, what would you do?
I'd probably be in sales.
You'd be in sales.
I don't know, but I feel like I would have end up in sales.
Okay.
Yeah, every Friday, every Saturday, I would be out drinking and hanging out with my friends, probably watching football on Sundays with like friends, and I don't think I would have the discipline that I have right now. I would just be enjoying my life just the way I was before.
Do you feel like you'd be more or less happy?
I think I would be less happy.
You'd be less happy?
Yes.
Okay. Do you feel like you'd be more or less in physical shape if you were not in real estate?
I feel like right now is a bad representation of where I'm going to be. Okay. But I feel like I'd probably be in better shape.
If you weren't in real estate?
Yes.
Do you think you would live longer or shorter if you were in real estate versus non-real estate?
Man, I think I'd live slightly longer.
Do you think you would carry as much social respect if you weren't in real estate?
No, of course not.
So socially, you think you'd be decreased in value if you were in real estate?
Yes, absolutely. If I was not in real estate, I would not be creating the impact I am on my employees' lives. I would not be able to tithe as much as I'm tithing. I would not be able to be as generous as what I'm doing. And what I found in my life is this: I get the most joy when I'm helping other people.
I agree.
When I'm able to actually serve or give, I am so joyful.
I love it.
And so by virtue of being in real estate, I'm a happier person. And because I'm a happier person, I'm happier in my relationships. Because I'm in real estate, I make more money so I could serve more people. So I think that honestly, even though like being in relationship with me comes with a sacrifice, it comes with a time sacrifice, just like you're going through. Life for Deb is not easy. Deb is at home busting her tail. I know you're trying to be as present as possible, but a 9-to-5 person would be way more present than you are.
Oh, for sure.
Right? Even on weekends, dude, you're away, you know?
Sure.
Even when you're around, you might not be present.
There's a great book. I believe it's called The Practice of Prayer. It talks about the practice of presence, like being present. And my brother talked to me, like my older brother, my brother's mastered this for now. He's like mindfulness. Basically, Brian, he says when he feels like he's not really being present or he's like worked up, he literally says this: Because whenever you're not present, that's when a lot of anger happens and stuff like this, right? Or anxiety, worry. He says, like, he'll sit down and be like, he'll literally say things out loud to himself. He'll be like, I have 10 fingers. My fingers are on my lap. My feet are touching the floor. I'm wearing socks. My socks are touching my shoes. By the base of my shoes are touching the floor.
Oh, I just got grounded just by doing that.
Of course, right? And he fixates on one thing. So he'll literally say, he'll go outside. He was like, when's the last time you went outside and just looked at a tree? My brother's not a hippie. My brother is a BCG consultant making a good amount of money, multiple properties. He's doing very well. He's a genius, very, very kind, caring, loving man. With this said, he said, when's the last time you went outside and looked at a tree? Why is that? Because you can be walking by trees, you can be doing a lot of stuff and never even see the tree. It's like, that's what happens in our homes. Because in our jobs, we're so fast paced, it makes in relationships where fast pace is really not able to slow down, right? So that's the challenge that we have.
So like, I do feel like work gives me so much joy, and it might not be that healthy. Like, I might get too much joy from it, but dude, it gives me so much joy. I'm able to help so many people from what I do. Like right now, every day at lunch, I get to go and work out with Luke and Bhavin. These are two young men in my office. They're senior lead managers, right? And I get to mentor them every single day, and I get to help them achieve their life goals, right? Like, I sat down with one of my acquisition managers today. I said, let's figure out where we're going to be in the next 6 years. If you just keep making this much money and you invest this much money and reinvest, by the next 6 years, you're going to have $180,000 of passive income. Let's get to that point. Let me help you get there. Like, there's so much value that I could provide into the lives of the people that work for me. Like, we're doing health insurance for people in the field, my VA team, right? Like, bro, like, we change lives. And like, it's forget it. Like, yes, changing lives for outside people and tithing is good, but dude, I get to go to work every day and serve the people that work for me, and it's amazing.
It sounds real estate really has given you, I can definitely relate. It's given both of us such a deep sense of fulfillment and purposefulness in a uncharted waters. It's one of the best things about us, and especially when you take that as like a mentoring opportunity and like an impact center opportunity. Would you talk to the negative side, the stressful days, the stressful weeks, the nervous breakdowns, the tears?
Yes, like when you're dead broke and you could barely make payroll and you have to chip in all your life savings back into the business after, it's stressful, yes.
And that's only in the beginning?
No, that happens when the times are bad.
That happens could happen last year, for example.
Dude, 23 was a rough year, right? Like first year of 2023, I was down $500,000, right? Why?
First half of 2023.
First half of 23. Did I make all that back? Yes. But the first freaking 6 months of 2023, I was like, oh my God. Yeah. I am laying out, me and my partner had to lay out $250,000 to keep the lights on. Each of our personal accounts to keep the lights on. We didn't let anyone go, but we kept it going. We believed. And so yes, like there are stressful times from the beginning to the middle to the end, but I believe that like if I had just stayed focused and I just kept doing one thing and I just wanted to be the best at one thing, it's not that stressful. I think that if you have massive shiny object syndrome and you keep trying to jump into different ventures, you're just like self-sabotaging, and you're just addicted to chaos. And so like if you choose entrepreneurship in real estate and you just decide to be the best in the world at one thing, I don't think your life doesn't need to be that hectic, but it's still definitely going to come with trials. It's still going to come with pain. I think that over time, if you still work on yourself though, you kind of just get used to it. I don't know if that makes sense, but like if I ever went through what I went through this year, or the following year, I don't think I'd be nearly as stressed.
Was there ever a point in the past 2023 that you felt unwell?
I was trying to raise $12 million for this one deal, and my business was just catapulting. Like I'm sales and marketing
downhill.
Just going downhill. I'm sales and marketing, so if I'm not involved in sales and marketing goes down, right? So I'm so busy raising millions of dollars that like I can't and I'm watching my business bleed, and I'm having such a hard time raising this money. I'm like, oh my God, if I don't raise $12 million, I lose my $500,000 deposit, and I'm watching my business bleed. So like, I'm working 90 hours a week trying to figure it all out. And I get to the point one day, and I'm so stressed about it that I'm dizzy. That when you're only like 5 feet away from me, like it was as if like you were like moving and blurry. That was what I was experiencing. So yes, like there definitely is a lot of stress that comes with this job.
Real estate has impacted our lives in a multitude of ways. And I think from the takeaway I'm hearing in our dynamic, it's clear that real estate gives us a responsibility in how we impact the lives of others.
Yeah.
So, David Choi, I love you, brother. Where can they see you? You can follow me on Instagram, or most of my social media handles are David Choi, CHOI.biz. We are taking investor capital. You know, we own 200 plus units. We do buy multifamilies and single families all throughout North Jersey and Westchester County, New York. We do over 100 flips a year. We do also lend money. So if you guys are looking for hard money or DSCR loans, we have a debt fund. We're direct lenders. So if you guys are looking for loans or want to invest with us or sell us deals, please contact me directly, 201-973-7029. You can also reach me on one of my social platforms. Sweet. Take care, David. Much love.